What's up, world? Quick tarot reading. It's a general reading, not for any specific sign or anything. Just, getting back into the swing of things. I just lose inspiration sometimes, so, you know, anything I can do to start making stuff again. But here we go. Let's see. Rider. What do we have in store today? What does the energy say about our viewer? Something. Oh, upside down. Okay. So, I'm going to flip these just because they're all upside down. Meaning I probably have the deck upside down, but I just don't want to look. So, yeah. Devil, Knight of Swords, and the Tower. Mars, Pluto, Capricorn, Saturnian energy, Knight of Swords. Something intense just happened. A revelation. I always think the Tower, to me, it's so phallic. Like, you know what I mean? And then, like, the Tower struck with lightning. It's like, obviously, orgasm reference. So, maybe there was some kind of social contact or sexual contact or something, especially with the devil here. And with Knight of Swords, I would see that as communication. It's probably the fastest knight, or maybe the Knight of Wands is faster. I don't know. See, I would say the Knight of Swords is faster. That's up to you. So yeah, something. There was a shocking event recently that has sent people into kind of a spiral. Trying to, and you see how he's kind of. This Knight of Swords is running kind of away from the progression of the reading. Like there's fast movement retroactively, like retrograding action. I think we might have Mercury retrograde right now. Not really sure. This is interesting. So, this is just a normal Rider deck, and I've just never necessarily paid attention to this, but see how the tail of this guy is lighting the torch of the devil, and then the woman is holding these fruits as if it's like the equivalent of the tail. But how I see the devil and how I think of the devil is like chronic restriction, and Capricorn is like 10th house, so essentially public persona, and kind of being chained to public persona, which means like not expressing yourself, and then that repression of self-expression being what is holding you to whatever structure, potentially fear-based, but in general just whatever structure you find yourself interacting with. So there was maybe some kind of change or destruction event that has caused maybe some like mental regression or going over things again. mental retrograde, that you're searching for some kind of, whether it's an addictive pattern or some kind of structure to chain yourself back up to. So going from one structure to another, not necessarily advisable, but that's what I'm getting from that. And on the bottom, yep, so I had the deck upside down, so this was upside down also. But yeah, I got death at the bottom, so what a great reading here. Death, the devil, the tower, and the Knight of Swords. Lots of tumultuousness. So death is Scorpio, which is also tower energy. So really, it's like you're searching for that structure again that was taken away by the whatever sudden change or sudden destruction. Yeah, and the return to like retry and formulate a structure seems to not be what needs to happen. It's like this death, you see the English, I think that's English rose. Regardless, it's got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got the devil. The insignia can be mapped onto that. So, yeah, essentially, this devil energy is what needs to be changed. Maybe if I had another devil, it would be like devil, tower, Knight of Swords, devil, death. So, and that's just to make the point. Yeah, it really seems like transformation and change needs to happen, rather than relying on the false evidence appearing real that the devil provides. Any addictions or any kind of safety or security that we experience is ultimately an illusion, and we require a sense of security or safety because we're in fear. So if you're in fear, you'll want security and safety. And if you are not in fear, you'll understand that there is no such thing as security and safety, and that anything can be taken away and change at any time. Tower and death. Yeah, but it is a function of our minds to go backwards and forwards in time, and if that's why the devil is so effective, because there is that serenity, when you've submitted yourself to a structure, and going back mentally to that time when you had access to that serenity can be almost better than experiencing the world in a raw way, because you don't have to, there is no surprise, which can be, it can be nice, but it just causes stagnation in tower events. So it's like this would perpetuate, like this would just keep going if you don't get out of the devil energy, which is just self-imposed stagnation. So yeah, said that a couple times. Thought deck. Let's see, upside down. Okay. No. I like these cards because you can tell what side's up. I don't mind upside down cards, but like when they're all upside down, it's just like so dreary. Like it's really hard to read that energy because it's just negative, And there could be positive. Some cards like Hangman upside down is like he's standing up, so it's like you've come out of a moment of stasis. But anyways, that's not a part of the current energy. Maybe it is for you. Okay, something. 7 of discs. It says failure. There's a couple cards here, so I'll just do that one. 7 of discs for the tower. So 7 is kind of a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's the last decan of Taurus, fixed Earth, and yeah, like 7 usually to me it represents like the king of like a country or something, but even more rightly like the ego, or a sense of, you know, like claiming autonomy that you don't actually have, or claiming like some kind of authority or power that you don't actually have, like because you're in the position to claim it, you can claim it, but by doing that, you know, because you don't actually have the power, it just eventually leads to failure. And I think 7 of Pentacles in the Rider normally is like construction. There's construction going on. It's like really being focused on building things. And as you can see, I don't know, maybe right at the top there, such a dark card. There's Saturn's right there by my thumb, and Taurus is down there. Oof. Look at that lighting. Eesh. Yeah, so again, yeah, Taurus, Saturn totally represents physical structures, and then the tower is a physical structure. So, and then failure of a physical structure would be exactly what the tower is. So it's kind of resonating down that line. So maybe, you know, there might be health challenges, or you know, upturned housing situation, or kind of like your routine has largely been upturned. Hello? Something just fell in my bathroom. I'm giving a reading. That's scary. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. Please don't get me. Okay. I've been listening to the Beatles a lot lately. Been super getting into them. My parents were kids when the Beatles were out, so Ace of Discs, whole bunch flipped. I'm just gonna do that one. Ace of Discs under the Knight of Swords. So Ace of Discs is like the source point of the disc energy, or the pinnacle of pinnacle energy. So you got 2 discs down here. Yeah, so maybe like you had a new job or a new financial situation that just didn't work out in some way. Or yeah, there's the retrograding action is like recalling again, yeah, recalling like the perfection of something, like when things were new. Or when you know, there was opportunity abound, and you know, after the tower energy, there's kind of like a desire to return, yeah, to that bountifulness, to the source energy of you know, abundance, physical abundance. Let's continue. Deb. Something. Wait, there he is. Didn't I just talk about you? Well, that's cool. Yeah, so if he's upside down, he's kind of like, you know, he's just kind of like standing there. Weird position, but when he's hanging upside down, how I pulled him, you kind of get, see the cross, and then the swoop. It's also kind of Saturnian there. So like self-imposed restriction. Um, but I like this aspect. Like the Ankh represents kind of like the seed of life. Let's see. And he's got this snake coiled around the seed of life. And so the seed of life being upside down, like the seed's in the ground and then the shoot comes out of the ground. So especially with the snake being wrapped around that, the snake can reference like kundalini energy or even just your spine. Oh geez. Wow. Um, and yeah, really, really internal focus. Self-imposed restriction causing, or like external restriction because you're internally focused. And of course, this is Neptune energy or Pisces energy, Jupiterian energy. Um, Underneath the devil, which is Saturnian again. So yeah, really, maybe, yeah, there was a sense of perfection that was being achieved, or a sense of autonomy or authority that was being achieved, and then because that was disrupted, there's you're looking for like a inner peace or inner source to reclaim what you lost. But trying to reclaim what you lost is perpetuating the cycle, and the devil energy will show itself by like self-restriction. You thinking it was something you did that caused whatever external manifestation that happened in your life to happen. And there's lots of psychological jargon out there at this point in time in the world that'll lead us to believe that everything that happens to us is our fault, because of certain levels of idealism, and that puts the onus on you to be able to do something about something that happens in your life. But sometimes, it in reality, it has nothing to do with you, and there's nothing you can do about it, except for to proceed with the death process. So, yeah, the retrograde action into trying to, bring about self-perfection by, refusing to participate in the world. Especially, it's justified because when something negative happens to you in the world, you kind of want to recluse and regather yourself. But yeah, they're in stagnancy. It's very easy to fall back into a certain kind of structure because it's not really possible in this world to do nothing or to reach the pinnacle of stillness that the hangman's searching for, especially externally. So, because we have to exist in this matrix, you see there's this kind of grid behind him, trying to be still in the matrix of the world, other egos will not allow that. They'll seek to disrupt your peace, which kind of causes the retrograde action back to needing the structure, because it allows you to seek the peace. But the peace doesn't necessarily really give you any insights if it's a retrograde action. You're just trying to return to a sense of before 4 times, which is just not possible. Let's continue. Okay. Oh. Priestess. Priestess under the death card. Priestess is moon energy. In Gimel, as far as Hebrew goes, I think the hangman is Samech, but I'm not sure about that. Uh, yeah, basically using. So, here we go. The two being like a two of swords, or a two of two or whatever. It really emphasizing making a decision, but using your internal compass as your decision maker is how you proceed through the change. These are kind of separate. Um, yeah. So yeah, really, you already know everything that you need to know. Learning is just allowing yourself to be refreshed on something that you previously know, and that's why you're attracted to it. Um, yeah, so I basically have a worldview that everything is self-contained, and that we allow each other to have access to our own selves, but there's nothing really to be gained externally. Um, there are things you can produce externally, but like you're not going to. You can gain inspiration from the external world, but that's about it. You're not really going to be satisfied or contented or even fully acknowledged or listened to by the external world. So, trusting yourself and making decisions based on what you think you should do is definitely what I would recommend here. I did just shuffle that priestess instead of pulling it from the bottom. So at the bottom, we've got adjustment, which is Libra energy. Crowley changed the numbers here. So this is 8 instead of strength being 8, which I don't know. To me that's kind of, it implies like modern passivity, as the the card of the self being balance and kind of 7th house energy, which is Libra, which is others, being other oriented in regards to yourself. So I just kind of disagree with that. I still think it should be what is it, 11, which is kind of like the portal to the outside world. That's kind of Aquarius energy. But yeah, really balance, and it's not that you can't reflect on the past and desire to be in the past. It's just know that it's not possible to physically go back and be in the past. So like, stasis and stillness is needed, but it's not actually perfectly achievable. So you still have to move forward and make decisions. But you can get burnt out trying to constantly move forward and refusing to even attempt to slow down. So it's all, yeah, any kind of process of change is all about balance. I was having this conversation with someone about smoking cigarettes, and you can just stop smoking cigarettes. And it's really the only way to do it. You can be nice to yourself and let yourself wean off of whatever you're addicted to, but your weaning process should not take longer than a week. And it really comes down to just stopping doing something if you don't like it, and yeah, that's it, and not doing it because you don't want to. So if you can't get behind that level of intensity where it's like, well, if you want to do it, keep doing it, but once you've experienced enough negativity, that should be motivation for you to want to let go of things that harm you. But if it's not, then it's like, well, that's the unfortunate situation that we're in. You can choose to continuously injure yourself, and no one's going to do anything about it. because you have to stop it. So, yeah. Let's see. Put these. I'm gonna do 3 golden tarot because these are harder to shuffle for me because they're large. Okay. Golden tarot. Bigger than my hands. Okay, 4 of Pentacles. And so I'm going to use these to tie these together. So 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, totally referencing structure, looking for stability. Stability was lost. Stability is being sought, with the retrograde action. And because it's first, you could say that it's kind of like the active mode or the Kentron, what do you call it? What is it? There's active, fixed, immutable. That's all I could think of. The modes, but I can't think of the actual term. But yeah, so because it's the first of 3, I'm going to do 3. You could say that it's in the active position. So you're actively seeking that, which is referred to by the cards that are behind it. So just clarifying where I'm getting my statements from. Skirt. Ah! Dropping on the ground. Page of Wands. Yeah, trying to take new action. Trying to move into a new phase. That's based in financial stability can kind of lead to a sense of, well, I should go back and get that job again, I know I better, focus on myself and see what I did so I can change myself so that people like me more. There is that tendency. So that's really what it seems like is going on there. Person walking outside. And then between the Devil, Hangman, Death, and Priestess, that's a lot of there's a lot of mystical energy over there. Death of the ego, and listening to yourself. Yeah, it's very heavily encoded in this. Let's get some cards. How about we kick some cards? How about we kick some cards? What energy most signifies and connects the energy we've already laid down? Uh-oh. Nope. You can't do it. Yeah, if the cards don't flip, I do not look at them. If they kind of pop, okay. Right when I say that. So there's 2. I'm going to not look at them. Heh, gotcha. If they don't flip, then it's like, well, to me, that's like the idea of like an ego. Yeah, like a card flipping like that and just being on its back would be like an instance, a very loose instance of like the 7 of Pentacles, where it's like I can choose to flip that card, but that's me making an instantiation that I have the ability to choose if the card should be read or not, which totally defeats the purpose of you doing the reading. Now it's up to the energy, and sometimes you will flip them and read them because it's just the energy that you've got. But just to make that example where it's like I can flip the card over and see what it says, and because I have the ability to do that, I will kind of assume that's what I'm supposed to do in any given moment. But sometimes, because it didn't flip itself, you're supposed to not read it, even though it did show itself. You're supposed to. Um, you can see that as like a sign of mutual respect that you have with your kind of unconscious self, that you'll allow things to progress as it indicates to, instead of being like, well, I have control, so I'm gonna flip it. That kind of like self-assured, like, I'm the king in the castle. You will never get this. Anyway, so continuing. So, give me a wand. Give me one more. Do it. Kick. Let's see. Oh, got one. So I'm just gonna read this one. It's the Queen. There are a couple there, but I'm just gonna do this. Queen of Wands is the top, upside down Queen of Wands. So with the Queen of Wands in this position, upright, you can see that her feet are on the checkered board, which kind of refers to moral relativism, which is I can do, because she's the queen representing water, so water, fire, so emotional action would actually really mimic kind of the priestess. She's like an equivalent of the priestess, where the actions that you're going to be taking are what you think you should be taking. And yeah, it was upside down, so to me, I emphasize the moral relativism because emotional action, or semi-intuitive action, like what you think is intuitive action, can also just regress into a sense of like, I'm owed this, so I can do whatever I want to satisfy my lack, which kind of just incurs karma, and that's really how the whole trap is activated. You think you can just do whatever you want because you are experiencing an inconvenience in life. Not to reduce it, to just being an inconvenience, but essentially that's how the universe is going to see it. And if you take actions that pull you out of being in alignment with you doing what you're allowed to do without violating the rights of others, if you go outside of that and you're like, well, there is no morality, there is no objective moral system in the universe, then you'll kind of re-trigger the whole situation that we're looking at. And it looks like you really want to go back to that structure. So maybe it was a relationship or a job, but especially with it being upside down, it's kind of like you're leading with the emotional aspect, and so you're not necessarily conscious of the action that you're taking. You're just trying to facilitate the expression of the emotion, which can be the downside of intuition, because you can kind of override your intuition, and your intuition will say not to do something, and you'll just do it anyways because you feel the impulse to do it, which again is the 7 of discs kind of energy. So Queen of Wands, it's the right energy. It's just you understanding that there are basic mechanics of the universe, and that when you do whatever you want, you kind of encourage and program the universe to treat you in whatever way it sees fit. Not that it's not going to do that anyways, but like, you're asking it to be that way when you don't live your life according to kind of an empirical structure. So your understanding of it is going to be based on your experience and like your understanding of the world. So, be that as it is, but yeah, I would say I would caution against taking reckless kind of abandon in your actions, and really listen to your intuition, but also you kind of try to become more clear about what you think that means when I say listen to your intuition. How do you think, what do you think that means? And just kind of grow deeper in your connection with understanding that, like what does it mean to listen to myself? Because it's not just oh, that guy pulled in front of me in traffic, so I'm gonna go run him off the road. It's like your genuine self is never going to tit for tat like that. But the Queen of Wands energy is the ability that we have to like know that you feel bad and then take action based on the emotion without it actually being in alignment with the universe. So it like pulls you back into the cycle and encourages it to continue again. And so we got this Seven of Cups. All right, yeah, kind of. Woo. Okay, yeah, I would say that the overall message of this reading is that the emotional ties that we have with our ego are not it's not that they should be invalidated, and it's not that they're not real, but that is what is triggered, that is what offends people. Just the Seven of Cups, it's the last decan of Scorpio. So yeah, very obsessive, very fixed, very locked, very icy kind of sense of feeling. So yeah, maybe with all of this, the Hangman and the Priestess and the change, yeah, I would say you can use the frustration and passion, that you may be feeling to melt this sense of self, that can be, your ego is essentially like a crystallized form of how you think the world is supposed to pattern itself and how it should manifest for you. And when it doesn't work out how you think it's supposed to, we have a tendency to be like, well, screw the universe then. And, not understanding that, like, we're allowed to do that by the universe, so that it kind of already has complete control of us, and we're allowed to, take self-righteous action because it allows us to do that, and then it incurs the penalty, and it allows you to come to a realization that you shouldn't do that, or to just perpetuate the cycle and keep going in it. So yeah, it really seems like if you're frustrated, if you're stranded, if you're seemingly unable to move forward and step into a new kind of action, maybe the new action is to allow your sense of understanding of your position in the world and how the world works in general. Maybe that is where you can begin to focus this Hangman energy, and kind of maybe the intuitive action that you need to be taking should be directed at your sense of how the world works, or how it should work, and be more open to actually seeing how it does work, instead of trying to impose a fixed sense of like, well, I want this, so this is how it should work. Oh, it doesn't work like that? Well, that's stupid. Just that reductionist kind of very feisty Scorpio energy. Maybe try to loosen the grip a little bit, melt the ice, so you can get a little more flow. in your life. But yeah, so I hope that was useful for somebody. If it was, go ahead and give a like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you very much for checking this out. This has been the Virgo and Keystone, and I will catch you guys later.